was very apt, that she could judge the speech. She had many stories about how her husband and her relatives had dominated her life. But what I was seeing was a confident Lady Raman, very dutiful and in complete control of every situation, and the people around her in awe of her. Everyone was soothed. That's Lady Raman. To quote from this book, her tongue had developed a sharpness that was to become knife-edged in later years, and her temperament developed a cynicism born of frustration and jealousy. You could feel, I think she made a mention of it, that whatever she talked was really. At the same time, you see, I have heard this sharp talk of hers, but at the same time, I was a witness to her kindness and affection to her secretary, her driver, his family, and so many other people. Extremely kind. I was very fortunate to receive the very best from her. Rocking in a chair, overlooking a rose garden, there a huge rose garden in the director's bungalow. She used to cuddle my daughter and say, "This is bliss. I want nothing else in the world." Chinnamma had an admiration for my mother-in-law, which she revealed to me when she told me not to worry about the restlessness of my daughter. She wouldn't sit at one place, very restless. She said, "Don't worry, she will grow up like her grandmother, energetic, enthusiastic, and lively." So Chinnamma had seen my mother-in-law right from her birth. So she was very encouraging about that. When I conceived, we were on our own in a flat, but she visited me frequently and really pampered me. She sent a servant maid to work with us, overruling my husband's Gandhian principles and ideas of frugal life. When my 2-year-old son fractured his hand, she promptly drove us to the doctor, and seeing me frightened, she talked about how one should face life. A sermon that has been a source of courage at my difficult times in life. Once in a while, when she went to an evening meeting, leaving me to take care of Professor's supper, she would call me before going to bed to thank me profusely and make me feel that I had done a great job. Actually, what I had done used to be a very simple thing. As for her jealousy, because Uma has written that she had developed that, Uma has written it very briefly and neatly written in the book. Just it is a very short reference. Chinnamma had mentioned to me her concern when all the cousins in her son's circle got married when he was far away. But she lived long enough to tell me her admiration for the same cousins for their faithfulness. Later, of course, her son got married and she did have a grandson to cuddle, but by that time we had moved to Nagpur. For a person like me, the fear and the inferiority complex does not allow me to fully enjoy the company of great people. But their affection fills me with boundless love and admiration. I was blessed with cultured people, and in spite of all the differences, I loved and adored them. I am very happy that at long last, you won't imagine how long we have been waiting for this book to come out. This book has come out, and I shall never be tired of reading it over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I now request Dr. Vinod Bhatt to please give away the presidential address.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here for what Neeta says is the 19th book, but I thought there were 25 already. But perhaps she has not counted the journals of respiratory care. So if you're counting all that, I guess it's more than 20. So what started with the a very modest beginning in November 2011 has come to this stage where now we have biographies added to a wide variety of publications from Manipal University Press. Leelavati mentioned about, and also Vasanthi, I guess, mentioned about how this book would be viewed by a person who knows neither the writer nor the subject. Well, I was one of them. And to me, I finished this in one sitting. So I started sometime just after dinner. I think I couldn't let go of the book till so before sunset next day I was done with the book. It requires many more readings. The first reading was at a level which brought me in tune with the times that are spoken about, the modes, the customs, the traditions of a middle class Iyer, a Brahmin Orthodox family living in Madurai, and then moving on to other parts of India, some who crossed the sea and went elsewhere. From that perspective, so a variety of things were kind of a revelation. Also kind of something that made me understand my wife better, because she comes from an Iyer family. So I guess to me it was, perhaps this is one thing that kept me bound to that book, more than the subject or the author. But jokes aside, this is a very well written book. To me, this is a privilege to be here, witnessing what I consider as a remarkable lady brought to life by three remarkable women. Uma, who has written so well, and Vasanthi and Leelavati, who have been here sharing their thoughts about the author and the subject. I thank you very much, and it's been our privilege to publish this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. Vinod Bhatt to give compliments to our guests who have been here today. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Professor Shankar has been the lead copy editor for this book. So I request Dr. Vinod Bhatt to give a complimentary copy of the book to him. Professor Shankar. Special thanks to Mrs. Savita Shastri for coordinating and helping in publishing this book. So I request Dr. Bhatt to give her a copy as well. Thank you. With this, we come to the end of this program. I would like to thank each and everyone present here who has been a part of this function. I would like to thank Mrs. Vasanthi Ram and Mrs. Leelavati Bhagwant for gracing this occasion. Thank you, Dr. Vinod Bhatt, for the presidential remarks and being here at the event. Thank you one and all, and also the viewers and audience who have been a part of this program. Thank you.